1,600 strawberry plants in about 20 feet. You don't need fertile soil to grow things, and you don't need a whole lot of space. This row of hydroponic towers is less than 7 inches wide. When the strawberries are growing on it, it might be 5 inches wider and therefore 1 foot in width. That's all. So you have about 20 square feet and 1,600 strawberry plants growing. Each tower is 80 plants and takes up about 1 square foot. Do you know any other way to get 80 strawberry plants in just 1 square foot of space? If you like strawberries, this is a wonderful idea, and if you want to sell them, I think enough people like strawberries that you might be able to make some money with this. I had strawberry plants in California that lasted many years. Once in a while, a shoot would reach out and take root and grow another strawberry plant. I bought the first 4, I think, and the rest were free. There was a snail problem because the strawberries were on the ground. I don't like dirt in my strawberries either. When you grow strawberries hydroponically, there's no dirt problem and there's no snail problem. This unit you're looking at solves the dirt problem and the snail problem, but when you raise your garden up where the birds fly, it creates a bird problem. Birds have a very keen sense of smell. But if you have 1,600 strawberry plants, you might have enough for yourself and the birds. Put some old CDs hanging from a string, and that will spook the birds. They won't come near it. That's what I heard. So I tried it. And what did the birds do? They weren't the slightest bit intimidated by the CDs dazzling in the wind. They landed on the CDs and ate the strawberries from the string I had built for them. When they saw me running after them with a butcher knife, they dropped guano on me. Now I have fertilizer all over my brand new sweatshirt. I think 1,600 is plenty, and if the birds eat some, just stay in the house and enjoy your brand new sweatshirt. You can do without fertilizer all over it. How many strawberry plants do you need? It depends upon how many people are in your family and how much they like strawberries. I never met a person who doesn't like strawberries. Your friends come over. They see your lovely strawberries hanging at eye level, and they feel invited to take some off and eat them. They will eat at your house if you eat at their house. Some friends are mooches. They will eat at your house even if they have nothing delectable like strawberries at their house, so be sure to grab their beer when you find some in the refrigerator, and then you're not the sucker in the friendship. It's not easy to mooch off a mooch, or to con a slick con man. You have to know what they're all about and beat them to the punch. Strangers who walk up to you and call you friend are not friends at all. They're strangers. So why are they calling you friend? Because they're con men. And they think you will fall for the friend routine. I have a rule for strangers who call me friend. You do me 3 favors, and then you can ask me to do you 1. How do you like them apples? I inform them that nobody can be my friend without at least 10 years of service to me, and nobody starts out with a favor from me. I ask if they understand my friendship rules. If they say yes, I say, good. Now, what would you like to say? Most of the time they recognize the futility of the situation and see that there isn't going to be any conning me, so they leave and try their friend routine on someone else, someone more gullible. Friendship is like religion and marriage. Everyone thinks they work, but nobody can produce any proof that they do. I think all 3, friendship, religion, and marriage, are myths. They don't work. Can you really have a true friend or a faithful wife? Does Jesus save you from a burning building, a flood, or from corrupt politicians? I never heard of anyone being saved by Jesus, have you? Jesus helps those who help themselves. In other words, Jesus doesn't get involved. How could he if he's imagined? That would be like Santa Claus getting involved. The answers to these questions are fairly obvious if you take off the rose-colored glasses and wake up to reality. There is no such thing as a faithful wife or husband. You don't have any real friends. It's all about money, and winning your confidence is how so-called friends get it. Everyone gets older, but only a few get wiser. The rest keep falling for the campaign promise. They vote one group of cockroaches out of office and put another group of them in their place. How do you get rid of cockroaches? By replacing one type of cockroach with another. You can't vote them out of office. Each time you vote, you're putting cockroaches into office. There's no such thing as a representative, and no such thing as a faithful wife or a true friend. I'm not so desperate for friendship that I have to welcome mooches and con artists into my life just so I have some friends. These are not true friends. You can only lose with both types. So if you grow 1,600 strawberry plants, let your friends know that it's a business, and you'll be happy if they will be your first customers. At a discount, of course. You'll knock off 2% of the purchase price of $17 per pound, and they can be enjoying strawberries for just $16.75 per pound, plus tax, growers' costs, and a few other minor and miscellaneous charges that go with every purchase. The tax is there because the government is a mooch, and all politicians are con men, in case you didn't know. I was watching a YouTube video and I saw a guy build a single unit like this, and it was very impressive. I'll give you the link in the video description. The man was very talented in constructing things, and if some of you want to build one of these, do watch his video. And if you want to hire this guy to build one of your own designs or one of the designs I have sent you, do contact him and ask what he'd charge. Just call him up and say, "Hi friend, I saw your video and I'd like to con you into doing some free work for me." On second thought, don't try that. He didn't appear to be anyone's fool. This guy in the video is clever. He has skills. He might not fall for the friend routine. The square vinyl tubing might stand up to the intense sunshine because it's made to last years in direct sunlight. Once this is built, it might pay for itself many times over. Water is pumped up 6 feet and released through a hole. Then it percolates down through about 24 holes in the cap, all on the inside of this device. You can't see the water falling in my sketch, but you can see the holes that water passes through and the hole where the water gushes up by pumping action. I'm fairly sure that algae will grow in these tubes because the light can pass through the translucent vinyl. I think the guy did a fantastic job in designing a system that works well. If you can get black vinyl, this could solve the algae problem, and if you can spray it black, this would stop the sunlight from passing through the translucent vinyl. Walmart has a black spray paint that's about $1 a can. I have used it on my fire pit and barbecue grill, but they both get hot and no paint can last long with high heat. The towers have low heat, and it might be possible to paint them and block the sun if you find that algae buildup is a problem. When you see the water trickle down, splashing all over the roots, you see that there is no need for an aerator because water is exposed to air and the splashing increases the surface area tremendously. pH is very important in agriculture, so let's talk about it for a minute. Air and carbon dioxide dissolve into water naturally, and the carbon dioxide makes the water slightly acidic. Rain has a pH level of 4.5 to 5.8 typically, and that's because carbon dioxide dissolves in rain and carbon dioxide makes a weak acid. Most crops you eat need a pH of about 6.5, but potatoes need a pH of 4.5, so rain is ideal for crops. Remember, rain is always acidic, and that's what plants like. Baking soda is the opposite of rain. It's basic or alkaline, and this is what people need. People need baking soda to raise the pH of the blood so people can be healthy, and baking soda kills cancer. Cancer is like plants. It likes an acidic environment. Give cancer baking soda and cancer dies. It's like feeding rats fluoride. Fluoride kills rats, and it doesn't do human beings any good to ingest fluoride compounds. They put it into our drinking water, and I think this is wrong. That's rat poison. Let's summarize the lesson in pH for plants and people. Plants like a low pH or a mildly acidic environment, and people do best in a higher pH or mildly basic environment. That's your pH lesson for the day. Now back to the design of this hydroponic unit. How do you get the water to cascade down in dribbles? The man in the video mentions a pump, but he doesn't show it, and he gives no details about it, only cost options. He says there's one pump that costs $20 and another which costs $30. He didn't say where he buys these pumps. I use a Walmart swamp cooler pump to heat my jacuzzi, running water through a solar heat panel. It turns sunlight into heat, and I store that heat in the jacuzzi with a cover over it. In November, I'm getting temperatures over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Some people call the jacuzzi a spa. The swamp cooler pump circulates cool water through a solar heat collector panel and returns the warm water to the jacuzzi. The evaporative cooler pump that I use costs less than $20. It has a number 5,500 on it in big letters, but I didn't find any images of cooler pumps with that same number. I was surprised to find 25,000 on one of them, and it makes me wonder. The swamp cooler pump does pump a lot of water, but in the video he says you're limited to a height of about 6 feet. The pump can't pump water higher than 6 feet. And you're better off if you don't put the pump to any strain, because you'll shorten its life. It might be easier on the pump if you have one pump raise the water to a height that isn't strenuous, and then have another pump raise the water the rest of the way. In this way, both pumps might last twice as long. If you're worried about electricity, I will tell you that these pumps don't use much. If this was an air conditioner compressor, it would use a lot more electricity. When the man in the video says that you're limited to a height of 6 feet, does that mean he's using an evaporative cooler pump? You have to ask him, because I'm not an expert on hydroponic pumps. I have enough experience with the swamp cooler pump to know how long they last and how much they cost to operate all day, in summer cooling my house, and in winter heating the water for the jacuzzi. I agree with the 6-foot height limitation. I tried to set the solar panel only 1 foot above the pump level, so I'm pumping water up just 1 foot. You can do that with a jacuzzi, but you can't with plants. Your return collector can't have a water level that's just 1 foot below the highest level where the water is pumped. It cascades down 6 feet to give you the maximum number of strawberry plants per square foot of footprint. Here we have 80 plants in the space of 1 square foot, and that's extraordinary. You need a pump that goes with that, and so you need to be able to pump water up a height of 6 feet. You don't want these towers to rise up 30 feet anyway. They are made of vinyl, and they are flexible. If you go up 30 feet, they'll bend over and collapse. 6 feet is high enough. A woman of 5 feet 6 inches, like the one in the Google SketchUp program, can reach about 18 inches above her head, and so 6 feet is accessible to her. Look at this image. There are 1,600 hydroponic cells for plants in this design, and you don't need any fertile ground. That's amazing. You can be on a rocky cliff, and as long as you have a space that's 20 feet long and about 1 foot wide, you can grow 1,600 strawberry plants without any soil at all. Just a rocky cliff, that's all. Face your row of hydroponic units to the south, and don't worry about strawberry leaves getting enough sunshine if you're in the southwest. I'm in Arizona. I'm a zonie. We have plenty of sunshine, and sometimes plants need a break from the intense sunlight. They get stressed from too much sun. It's up to each leaf to find the sunshine and enjoy the rain that falls constantly. That pump costs almost nothing to run. Compressors will drain your bank account, sending money up to the eye of the pyramid, to the parasites who own all the electric companies. But water pumps like this are cheap to operate. If you want to cut the cost by 80%, just run it for a minute every 5 minutes. You have to check to see if that will destroy the motor faster. I think it might. The wear and tear on a water pump might be at the starting of them when they first send water into motion, like a car taking off from a stoplight. You might be better off putting in 10 or 20 towers and letting the pump run constantly to supply all the towers instead of just one. Inside this vinyl tube, there's going to be a lot of humidity because of all the water splashing about. And I don't think the roots can dry out completely with air that's saturated with water vapor. It's like living in a rainforest. That's the benefit of a closed chamber hydroponic system. It can be a dry desert outside, and inside this 3-inch by 3-inch chamber, it's a tropical rainforest with humidity nearly 100% and water available all the time. It could be as dry as cattle skull bones in the desert outside the unit, and inside the vinyl tubing it's a tropical rainforest saturated with humidity just the way plants like it. Another benefit of this system is that the water with the fertilizer is not running on the ground and flowing into the groundwater, so your fertilizers are not wasted and also not polluting the groundwater. You don't want fertilizers in your groundwater. Arizona has a problem with this. There is far too much runoff from the farm fields, and it's ruining the groundwater. Fertilizers and pesticides should not contaminate our drinking water. Arizona has too much arsenic and fluorides in the drinking water. And what does the state do? It dumps industrial fluoride waste into our drinking water because the fertilizer industry and the aluminum industry need to get rid of these toxins. Was anyone bribed? I think you know the answer. Everyone should complain about it, but fluoride makes people docile and stupid. It lowers IQ, and people don't want to do anything other than watch ball games on television, drink fake beer, put fake gasoline into their gas tanks, and fake honey on their peanut butter sandwiches. These hydroponic units conserve on the use of fertilizers and do not let anything seep into the groundwater, so I like that aspect. They use very little water, you know. Loss of water is primarily through leaf respiration, and fertilizers are staying behind. I have 3 of these swamp cooler pumps, and they are all still working, though one doesn't have much lifting power. The other 2 are still strong, but when they go out, it's only about $20 to replace them. Get the pump that has 5,500 CFM, cubic feet per minute, on the packaging, because that number refers to the amount of air that the swamp cooler runs through its blower system to cool the house. There is one with 7,000 on it, and another with 7,500, and many more. If you have 20 towers, maybe one of these would put out enough water to do the job. Read the label and see how many gallons per minute they pump. Decide which is best for your system and buy that one. The 5,500, the 7,000, and the 7,500 CFM pumps are all in the range of about 200 gallons of water pumped per hour, so you have plenty of water flowing over your roots. I don't think anything is going to dry out and die, but I haven't tested all the swamp cooler pumps I'm showing you. Some of them I didn't even know existed until today. I saw a hydroponic unit being built on the video I told you about, link in the video description, and by now the builder in the video has certainly tested it, found the bugs, and he can tell you from actual experience what the problems are to solve. Some problems are solvable by you and some are not. Some problems can't be solved by anyone, no matter who you are, so dive right in and discover the problems on your own, or contact this man in the video and ask him a dozen questions so you can look ahead at the kinds of problems you might experience. The 5,500 CFM pump puts out enough water flowing down the evaporation panels to cool a house of about 900 square feet, I think. On the swamp cooler, the water that flows over the evaporative panels absorbs heat and then evaporates, taking the heat with it. It's called heat of vaporization. What's left behind is cooler water and cooler air. And that's how someone in Arizona would drop the inside air temperature 20 degrees or so from the outside air in summer. Instead of 90 degrees Fahrenheit, you're at 70 degrees Fahrenheit inside the home. This information will help you select the right cooler pump for your hydroponic towers. If you set up the pump to supply 10 towers, I'm fairly sure that you'll get enough water cascading down to keep all the roots moist inside, but you have to see and then get another pump if you go with 20 towers if one pump isn't sufficient. Connect the towers at the top, and when the pump lifts the water up, a PVC pipe carries it to nearby towers. If you join them at the top, you have to join them at the bottom, so you get the backflow, and you can't afford to have any leaks. If you do this outside, you might put them under the soil so nobody trips over them and breaks them. Repairs cost money and take time. You have better things to do. I would anchor these towers in the ground using fence posts and 18 inches of concrete so the wind doesn't blow them over. I don't recall how the man in the video kept his towers up. Some people might wire them from above, setting up something like a clothesline with fence posts at each end. A 20-foot clothesline is something that has been proven over the years, and we know a little about the weight they can support. The tower stands alone, but in case of wind, you want that clothesline wire to absorb the wind energy and keep all the towers standing. If you use fence posts at the end, it might add a couple of feet to the total length of this hydroponic system. If the fence post blocks sunlight, it's too close. Move it away another foot and see if that helps. Then dig your hole and get your cement ready to pour into the hole 18 inches deep. The metal should be non-corrosive or it will rust. I think you might use galvanized steel and get the tall ones. If you have 1.5 feet in the ground and 6 feet to be as tall as the towers, add another foot above that and you might have something that will work. What does that come to? 8 feet? This is a little taller than a conventional clothesline. Hang your wife's bloomers on it during the wind test. If your line of towers are 20 feet, the bloomers will only take up about half that length. And when those bloomers catch the wind, it's like a gigantic sailboat cutting through the choppy waters and moving swiftly for the tropics. If you ever go on a sailboat, bring some of your wife's underwear. They might be a lifesaver when the yards break off during a hurricane and you're adrift at sea without a sail. The captain will love you for it. Just hand him your wife's underwear and ask him if he can use them. He'll ask, "What is it?" You say, "It's my wife's underwear. Make a sail out of it." He'll probably jump overboard into shark-infested waters because he touched your wife's underwear. If they were reasonable in size, he might be sniffing them. But when they're the size of a jib sail, you have the captain diving into the mouths of great white sharks after he realizes what he's holding in his hands. Seriously, though, you need to stabilize those towers because of the wind. The tower can fall over from someone pulling strawberries off the plant. Ripe strawberries come off easily, but if you've eaten all the ripe strawberries in anticipation of your moochy friend's arrival, they might have to eat yellow ones to get any at all, and those are more tenacious, and pulling them off could topple your tower. It could damage the tower or the plants, so give this aspect adequate attention so you don't have a calamity. When your strawberry towers are producing huge quantities of red ripe strawberries, call me. I'd love to come over and see your system. Hide your wife's underwear so I don't lose my appetite. Thanks for watching. It creates a bird problem. Birds have a very keen sense of smell. But if you have 1,600 strawberry plants, you might have enough for yourself and the birds. Put some old CDs hanging from a string, and that will spook the birds. They won't come near it. That's what I heard. So I tried it. And what did the birds do? They weren't the slightest bit intimidated by the CDs dazzling in the wind. They landed on the CDs and ate the strawberries from the string I had built for them. When they saw me running after them with a butcher knife, they dropped guano on me. Now I have 1,600 strawberry plants in about 20 feet. You don't need fertile soil to grow things, and you don't need a whole lot of space. This row of hydroponic towers is less than 7 inches wide. When the strawberries are growing on it, it might be 5 inches wider and therefore 1 foot in width. That's all. So you have about 20 square feet and 1,600 strawberry plants growing. Each tower is 80 plants and takes up about 1 square foot. Do you know any other way to get 80 strawberry plants in just 1 square foot of space? If you like strawberries, this is a wonderful idea. And if you want to sell them, I think enough people like strawberries that you might be able to make some money with this. I had strawberry plants in California that lasted many years. Once in a while, a shoot would reach out and take root and grow another strawberry plant. I bought the first 4, I think, and the rest were free. There was a snail problem because the strawberries were on the ground. I don't like dirt in my strawberries either. When you grow strawberries hydroponically, there's no dirt problem and there's no snail problem. This unit you're looking at solves the dirt problem and the snail problem, but when you raise your garden up where the birds fly, fertilizer all over my brand new sweatshirt. I think 1,600 is plenty, and if the birds eat some, just stay in the house and enjoy your brand new sweatshirt. You can do without fertilizer all over it. How many strawberry plants do you need? It depends upon how many people are in your family and how much they like strawberries. I never met a person who doesn't like strawberries. Your friends come over. They see your lovely strawberries hanging at eye level, and they feel invited to take some off and eat them. They will eat at your house if you eat at their house. Some friends are mooches. They will eat at your house even if they have nothing delectable like strawberries at their house, so be sure to grab their beer when you find some in the refrigerator, and then you're not the sucker in the friendship. It's not easy to mooch off a mooch, or to con a slick con man. You have to know what they're all about and beat them to the punch. Strangers who walk up to you and call you friend are not friends at all. They're strangers. So why are they calling you friend? Because they're con men. And they think you will fall for the friend routine. I have a rule for strangers who call me friend. You do me